Evening and welcome to the August 15th, 2022 regular business board meeting of the Lower Merion Board of School Directors. The board believes it's in its best interest and the best interest of the students of the district to hear comments from district residents. An opportunity will be given for public comment in person and through the chat feature, which will be read by Mr. Roos. This meeting is being video recorded with sound for public broadcast. All participants joining via Zoom will be muted upon entry. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Dr. Mameen is going to start off with his superintendent update.
Thank you so much, President Klein. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the community. And this evening, we have a couple of presentations, one being the comprehensive plan update. And also, there are some resolutions on the agenda this evening that I would like to bring attention to, which are extremely exciting. One is extremely exciting, and that has to do with the youth vote policy resolution for the Lower Merion School District. It's exciting because as we were looking at this youth vote policy, it came to our attention from three students from Harriton High, which came and presented, they both came and presented along with a young lady, presented at the June school board meeting to impress upon us how important civic engagement is for our young people. It was a very exciting meeting, and we immediately followed up with the students, and and they were very excited about the possibility of bringing this type of resolution to the board and having it embedded into school board policy. The students, Owen Huntington and Samuel Palmer, again, I must publicly thank them because after that school board meeting, we followed up in July, which, the students are not in session. They're not in session in schools. They showed up for a Zoom meeting and they articulated their plan very clearly. And I explained to them the nuance in regards to getting plans and ideas into policy, and they've been steadfast with working with us, the administration, as well as the school board, to bring this policy to fruition. So I wanted to make sure that I publicly acknowledged their hard work and their leadership. And it's so exciting because in our strategic plan, as you know, we have 5 pathways, and one of those pathways deals with student-driven schools. And this is a perfect example of how students are able to come forward, exercise voice, and what a beautiful thing to have their voice and ideas manifest into a school board policy. So again, a very exciting evening for those 3 young people, and not only thinking about Harriton High, but also thinking about the district, the entire district, Harriton and Lower Merion. So very exciting. And so as we move through the school board meeting, and we've reached a resolution, I will turn the microphone over to our board member.
They are now.
I would turn the.
I'm sorry. I thought we were doing it now. I apologize.
No. And again, when appropriate, when we get to the resolution, I'll turn the microphone over to Mrs. Carrie Saltner to be able to go through the resolution, to give some small succinct details in regards to the resolution. And the reason for that communication and collaboration is because the students first approached Mrs. Saltner, school board member Saltner, with this idea. And again, it's such an exciting thing to have student voice manifest into school board policy.
I really just want to do a shout out to Sam and Owen, who really brought this forward and did what we expect all of our citizens here to do, is have voice and agency. So it's civic engagement in every sense of the way. And the policy will go up. It's also in board docs. I really suggest everybody go through and read it. The policy draft is brilliant. It has a lot of ideas in there, and it's also research-based. So they have a ton of research from Pew as well as Department of Education on how the civic engagement plan will help all students. So when we think about civic engagement plans that focus on voter registration, that's a fantastic tool, but they don't stop there. It's about getting people feeling comfortable going to the polls. It's about getting younger students engaged at a younger age, because as we all know, voting is something that's learned, and you have to do it throughout your entire life to be an effective citizen. So they've done a fantastic job on this. So I really suggest everybody take a look at it, dive into it. It will go through the multi-step process process to be a real policy work. So the work is done, Sam and Owen. I think you're online, one of you. The work's not done. It's not over yet. But it was also different groups that helped support this with the students, like the League of Women Voters and PA Youth Vote. And Philadelphia has a similar policy. So take a look at it, read through it, and be impressed with how great our kids are here. Back to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And again, the vision, the visionary focus of the students was amazing because they are looking outside of the Lower Merion School District and they're looking at the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And that resonated in our conversations on Zoom or our conversation on Zoom. So this is very exciting. I'll move on to my second item. The second item, as we are all aware, in regards to the COVID-19 health and safety plan of the school district. And this evening, we will be recommending to the school board that we approve the updated recommendations. First and foremost, I would like to publicly thank our students, our families, our community for the extreme patience that we've had throughout the pandemic. I mean, there have been a lot of ebbs and flows, a lot of shifts and changes in guidelines, recommendations, throughout this pandemic. And succinctly, the new recommendations coming from CDC, we will follow those steadfastly, and they are very, very much different to how we started within this pandemic. I want to be very clear about that. But they look vastly similar to how we ended the school year. There will be a letter going out to the students, parents, and community tomorrow in regards to the updates and how they will impact our schools. For example, there are some critical areas that are huge shifts from where we began in this pandemic. So, for example, contact tracing. We will discontinue contact tracing as based on the CDC recommendations. Mask may be recommended, again, if the COVID level is high in the community, but masks are not required. Students who are asymptomatic will not need to quarantine after exposure, regardless of their vaccination status. That is a huge shift. So when we're moving down, we say, how does this impact us, our students, and schools? Social distancing will no longer be recommended. So that impacts how we deliver instruction in the classrooms. That will impact how students are seated in the cafeteria, and meal service will return to the way they were prior to the pandemic. Traditional activities, and this was a student question, traditional activities such as assemblies and other group gatherings will resume. However, field trips will remain limited due to ongoing staffing considerations impacting both health services and transportation. The district will continue to use MERV 13 air filters in all buildings. And again, we will continue to keep our eyes and remain abreast of what's happening, what's coming down from the CDC and MCOPH in regards to having to make quick shifts, quick changes, providing information. We will continue to communicate often in regards to the shifts and changes in these guidelines. But again, that letter, we'll have a letter that will go out to the community tomorrow. But most important, again, I believe it's extremely important for me to say thank you to the students, the staff, parents, and community for the continual patience as we navigate the waves of this pandemic. So thank you so much. And that completes my report, President Klein.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mamine. I think Dr. McGloin is going to do a update on the comprehensive plan next. It's a follow-up to the presentation from the last meeting.
What do I do? I don't see your mouse. I got it. Oh my goodness, hold on. I gotta get it back on this side. Yep.
Thank you, Mrs. LaPera. I obviously couldn't get the mouse to even look at me, so I really appreciate that. This is just a follow-up to the last time I did present on the comprehensive plan last meeting. And really the focus today is on an overview of the public comments and revision to the plan based on those comments. We did have comments last month. When I checked with our IT department, the next morning I got them. And so we did definitely have comments, and we'll talk about that today and what that looks like. Just as a review, very quickly for you, remember it was a ready, set, go process for the comprehensive plan that outlined our mission and our vision. We looked at our strengths and we looked at areas for growth and set goals as well. And then in addition to that, if you recall, the comprehensive plan is actually made up of several plans on top of that. The academic standards and assessment plan, which is chapter 4, that actually is not on public display because really what we do there is say, yes, we meet the standards and this is how we do that. The induction plan is also on a part of this, and that induction plan gets updated every 6 years. That was on display. We did not receive any comments on that plan. The professional development plan was also a piece of it, and if you recall, the action steps in the professional development plan actually came from that ready, set, go part where we set our goals and then we spoke to how they were being met in that plan. So you have to talk about not just what you're going to do, but how you're going to do it, and that happens in the PD plan. In addition to that, in the professional development plan, we have to talk about how we're going to meet our other requirements by state law. So like safe schools is one of those things that we have to talk about, where a mandated reporter becomes a piece of that. Trauma-informed practices, we're required to do that every single year. There was just an update to the law on that, and so it's an hour every year, and that's in there as well. Student Services Assurance Plan, that is another one of the plans that was not up for public display. What we're doing is marking and saying, yes, we meet all of these requirements in that plan. And then finally, there's a gifted assurance plan as well. And then we have to, in that plan, assure that we comply. That was up for display. So if you remember, just to go back, our goals are really the goals that we have in our current strategic plan. So they should look exactly like you're used to seeing them over the last couple years. We use those same exact goals as part of our plan. The plan development, we've talked about multiple times, but we drafted the plan. We included the work that happened in the K-4 committee, the 5-8 committee. We had a separate induction committee as well that met to redo the induction plan. We were up for more than 28 days because we put it out in June and we allowed it to stay open until today. And so we could have received comments until that point. I think I've received one last week, as a matter of fact. And then we reviewed the plan based on the feedback from the community. We brought you the plan last month, and now we're recommending that you approve the plan today. The updated plan was sent to you, and that final draft is on our website. There were no changes to the separate plans, but there was small changes to the overall comprehensive plan. And then we need to submit it to the state by the end of this month. So we received 66 online submissions for review. Primarily, most of those submissions were around the full-day kindergarten program. In fact, the majority of those submissions were around the full-day kindergarten program. And then in addition to that, I did have one in-person meeting with people that wanted to speak a little bit more in depth on the plan, so we did chat together. So the types of responses that we received, we had general comments that connected to the plan. For instance, we missed an ethics statement in one of the groupings, so I added that in based on that feedback. They were talking a little bit about diversity. That was one of the things. General comments that didn't connect to the plan. Just so you know, somebody is requesting a golf team in the district, so that was a comment that we got that didn't necessarily connect to the plan, but definitely something they want us to consider. Requests for district level programmatic changes. As I mentioned, full day kindergarten was a request. We had 2 comments about school start time in addition to that. So there were some district level programmatic changes. That was not put into the plan because really the plan speaks about not just what we're going to do, but how we're going to get there. And both of those 2 things are currently being under review by the board. We have not committed to that, and so we don't want to commit district funds when the board hasn't approved it yet. So while we are definitely looking at both of those two items, in fact, the committee for full day K will send out an invitation for next month. You're voting tonight to do a new enrollment study. That'll give us some information for that as well. So we're moving in that direction, but it's not something that would be appropriate in our plan in particular. There were specific student concerns around gifted, just like one or two of those. And then we also got positive feedback on the plan, which was nice to see. So people said it was well done, comprehensive, and so it was nice to see some positive feedback as well on the plan. So how the plan was adjusted based on the feedback, there was just a few minor things, like I said. For some reason, we still had the FLES program in there in the beginning, and I don't know if it came from something else and I missed it, but so we reworked the wording on that, so it speaks to how we're delivering world language moving forward. As I had mentioned, we missed an ethics statement that was in every one of our subgroups except for the all stakeholder teacher group, I believe, and so that was put in there. So it's now in every one of those categories. And then finally, we switched to priority challenge. You're only allowed to have 4 priority challenges. Remember, I said this is really, really formulaic, right? And so you click a box and it leads you to something else. It only allows you to do 4 priority challenges. But after reviewing the input and speaking to some of our subcommittee members, we decided to take out the develop a continued focus on valuing educators and the critical role they play, and therefore we can support their perpetual growth through collaborative professional learning opportunities. That doesn't mean we're not working on that, right? But we took that one out and we replaced it with there is a discrepancy between the performance of students in our subgroups and the overall group performance in elementary schools in ELA, math, and science. That's not to say that we don't have a discrepancy at the middle or the high school level, because we do, but I couldn't take 3 of them and knock everything else out. So we picked one, but in the body, you'll see that we actually spoke to that discrepancy across the board at all grade levels. And we are addressing that in our comprehensive plan through MTSS, Universal Design for Learning, RCP work that we're doing, cultural proficiency work. So it's in there throughout the whole entire plan, and we just decided to do a flip, so it spoke to it. But we chose elementary because if we didn't, we would have had no other goals except for that, and then spoke to it instead in the plan. So they were the changes that we made. Nothing that was huge and really shifted anything, but some minor changes were definitely made based on feedback. Questions?
Thank you. I wanted to point out again that this comprehensive plan is really driven by state regulation and state law and very prescribed, and that it is a different document than our strategic plan. That is something that is more district-driven. And as Dr. Mamine has said at past meetings, this upcoming year, we're going to do a little bit of a refresh on the strategic plan, looking at some of our goals and objectives. So I just wanted to remind everyone that this is not that, that this comprehensive plan is very formulaic, as Dr. McGlynn had said, and that we are going to be taking a fresh look at the strategic plan throughout the year.
Yeah, we did, but we did use the strategic plan to inform this. So you see the overlap because we really do try to hold true to the strategic plan. So using those goals in this comprehensive plan really made more, we would never rewrite something because they're valuable and we use them in the district. So you'll see an overlap and you should see an overlap, but we do need to do a refresh and relook at our strategic plan. And that then will inform in 3 years when we go back to the comprehensive plan. I'm sure we'll make some adjustments based on that. Anna, you look like you have a question.
I have a quick question. Forgive me, I'm just coming back, so if I've missed this, then bear with me, but, in the part where you said you just switched the priority challenge to speak to the discrepancy, is that based on the most recent feedback and incorporated in the overall comprehensive plan, or you just switched the priority challenge and you still need to zone in on how that will be done?
No, it is spoken to in the whole overall comprehensive plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had already, I mean, it was threaded throughout the whole thing,
Yeah.
that discrepancy, but we were only allowed to choose 4 areas. I would have loved to have chosen 5 or 6, only because I think there was 3 areas that really spoke about those gaps. But if we did that, then we would have had nothing because you could only choose 4.
Yeah.
So we had threaded it throughout the whole entire plan to begin with. So this is incorporated into the whole plan.
Yeah, I remembered it being threaded. I just wasn't sure if you also, when you changed the priority challenge, specifically if you went out back through and called it out even more specifically with strategies to address it. So,
It matched well, yeah.
okay,
Yep.
thanks.
Just a side note on the golf comment, each of our high schools does have a golf team.
There were some things, schedule. I was just giving you an example, but I appreciate that. Okay.
Of course. Thank you very much, Dr. McGloin. Unless we have other questions, we will move on.
Okay.
Thank you. So next we have our committee meeting reports. It being August, we only have one committee that meets in July and August, and that is the Facilities and Purchasing meeting. You'll be happy to know the next meeting, we will be back to all of our committees that will start meeting up again after Labor Day, once school starts. And also our students are on summer vacation. One of our, Mr. Feldman graduated. So we will continue to have student representation once we are back in the fall. And so now, Ms. Schaffmeister, if you could give the August 11th Facilities and Purchasing meeting report.
Okay, since we're the only committee, I thought it would make it extra long. But but no, it's the usual length, but settle in, folks. So we met on August 11th in this room at 8:30 a.m. And from that meeting, we recommend the list of bills for approval between the period of July 13th and August 9th. A committee member asked for further information on 3 of the items listed. We recommended for approval the purchasing report. That includes Davy Tree Service for $10,810 to remove 2 diseased ash trees at Penn Valley, and $11,650 to trim tree branches back that are currently obstructing views of security cameras at LMHS. We also recommend for approval integrated security systems for $16,382 to install the Alertus system at Black Rock Middle School, and $9,610 to purchase and install 22 LED emergency strobe warning lights bars that are tied into the Alertus system at the 10 schools. They provide beacon light as a warning. The original ones installed were difficult to see, and putting a strobe type made them more visible. The initial Black Rock Middle School installation already incorporates these light upgrades. We also recommended for approval the I2 security solutions for $11,142.86 for the proprietary pricing to purchase additional camera licenses from Linos throughout this district, and $20,241.90 for the proprietary pricing to renew access control and camera license, also Lino, and this is district-wide. To RF Design and Integration, Inc., we recommend for approval $11,742.78 to improve the two-way radio system infrastructure that improves the ability of bus drivers and transportation administration to keep each other updated on a daily busing routes. Turf Equipment and Supply Company, we recommended $153,357.99 to purchase a Toro Groundmaster under PA contract 4400200108. If approved, this new Toro Groundmaster would be assigned to the schools on the west end of the district. We have 2 existing ones, a 2014 one that will be assigned to schools in the east of the district, and another one for 2016, which is becoming harder to repair, and slower to drive, and it will continue on limited duty. And having this one on east and west, it will also reduce the need to drive from one side to the other back with these mowers. We also recommended for approval FSI Industries, Inc., for $150,000 to purchase MERV 13 HVAC filters in various sizes, and this is under a CoStarz contract. And that will provide sufficient materials for the 4 filter changes during the 22-23 school year. They will be purchased under the Elementary Secondary School and Emergency Relief ESSER grant. And that update was presented at the Education Committee and Supplementary Regular Board meeting held on March 4th. We recommend the following contracts for approval. renewal with the College Board, who will provide PSTST administration services. Their contract is lower than last year at $23,648. We were, renewal with the Lincoln Center for the Family and Youth that to provide 3 counselors for school-based counseling services and wellness counselors in the 22-23 school year for the total amount of $240,000. Renewal for the Frontline Professional Growth My Learning Plan through MCIU Consortium in the amount of $24,753.40, which will provide professional learning registrations in the 22-23 school year. And there's a new agreement with Efficiency for $13,360 to license at 3 middle schools and 1 high school. And this will provide interventions, scheduling software that takes care of the flex time operations by automating the process of assigning students each day so teachers and administrators can focus on students, not logistics. And then another new agreement with Common Lit for $9,000. It's already been using the free version at the middle schools for a number of years. With the new middle school opening and the 5th grade moving to the middle school, it required us moving to the paid version. We recommend for approval the list of contracted student transportation driver aides for the 22-23 school year. We recommend for approval the renewal of the agreement with CAP Coaches, Inc. for the period of 9/1/22 to 7/31/23. This agreement sets fixed pricing for trips as needed for transportation of some LMSD students assigned to out-of-district facilities, transportation during the school day, and sports and activity trips. We would use CAP on an as-needed basis. We recommend for approval the renewal of the quote from UK Cronus for $72,523.14 for software equipment and educational support for services of the time clock system that the district uses to compile all hours for payroll. We recommend for approval renewal of iBoss web filtering software subscription and technical support to maintain compliance with Children Internet Protection Act, CIPA, for $84,273.56. By maintaining CIPA compliance, the district remains eligible to apply for federal E-rate program discounts. We recommend for approval the SANS Institute quote for $12,300. Approximately 90% of organization cybersecurity incidents and breaches begin with phishing and spear phishing emails. This purchase will help employees identify phishing emails, thus reducing the risk of cybersecurity-related incidents or breaches. We recommend for approval the CDI LLC Professional Services Statement of Work Agreement for $23,690 to install and configure the replacement network storage system at 55 Rock Hill Road. We recommend for approval the following quotes from Power School for renewal. Power School Student Information System Maintenance and Support for $51,939. Power School Information System Enterprise Managed Services for $16,269. Power School E-Collect Forms for $18,096. And this includes a new product that will auto-populate forms. Parents will give consent to use this form as a function through a Power School. And then lastly, the Power in School registration enrollment additional language for Spanish for $29,944.47. And Central Registration uses this module. We recommended for approval renewal of the license agreement with Mainline School Night to for their use of 23 LMHS classrooms for 9 nights during the period of 10/11/22 to 12/6/22, and for an estimated fee of $5,175. We recommend for approval Montgomery County Planning Commission to perform an enrollment study in the amount of $7,166, which includes their 25% discount given to Montco school districts. The study will project out for 10 years in the future. It's slightly more expensive than prior MCPC studies due to our asking them to project for 2 scenarios. Starting with the 23 school year, we asked them to project enrollment for both a half-day and full-day kindergarten model. The report is planned to be presented at the November 21st meeting. We recommend for approval an individual work order with traffic planning and design for professional services related to upcoming inspections, activation, and final completion of the traffic signal and roadway improvement at Black Rock Middle School. The amount is not to exceed is $10,000. The traffic and planning design service will exceed the original contract amount. This will cover services until the final turnover of the traffic signal and roadway improvements. We recommend for approval amendment to the Speasel agreement for an additional $20,000 for ongoing issues relating to the playing fields and coordination of landscape and hardscapes that are additional to the original scope of work. We recommend for approval the following change orders. Two $2,000 credits from Gessler for the tennis court projects and at BCMS and Welsh Valley Middle School. For Black Rock Middle School, we have the IMC change order for $14,907.99. This is cost to Storm Tie and Connect, and this was not shown in Area A per the RFI. Another is GBM change order number 07-09 for $9,453. And this was a credit for installation of the snow melt in our outer courtyard area that was decided not to be installed. And change order to Borough Electric, additional cost of change order number 0823 for $2,451.44 to provide fiber for the tech center relocation to the area of the former snack bar. And also to Borough change order number 824 for $18,896.01 to add 2 IDF racks and power in room 2030, and this also relates to the tech center. And then final change order is Gessler's, is for Gessler, and it's change order for owner-direct changes at the owner-directed changes at the entry signal and field construction. For construction updates, we're working towards the occupancy approval date of August 18th and the teacher arrival on August 29th. Final inspection dates for items such as fire alarm, elevator, electrical are lined up in August for this deadline. The traffic signal scheduled for final inspection on August 15th. It will flash for a week and then go active on the 22nd, so remember to stop there. If it's red. Custody of signal will transfer to Lower Merion Township in September. Outside. The fields are substantially complete and tennis court construction is underway and scheduled to be ready for September 9th. The site work continues, including paving of roads and the parking area. Inside, due to ongoing moisture issues, the main gym flooring is not ready to be put down yet, so completion is not happening by the end of August, but soon afterwards. Plans are being made to coordinate gym classes using the auxiliary gym and the outside fields. Finishes and items are completing in all areas, with the largest effort remaining in Area D. The air conditioning ventilation is running full-time in the building. Cleanup and cleanout continues in all areas. AV technology backbone work continues in all areas. Future delivery and installation continues, furniture delivery and installation continues in area from A through D. As an update for construction costs, with this month's change orders and including amounts under dispute, the projected total construction contract costs a total of $89,342,333. Adding soft costs to that total project amount is $105,058,716. From a community comment at the meeting, a member of the community requested we work to become carbon neutral and protect our environment, that we should rethink the fields and also create environmental programs for students. As a final report, we had a ventilation rates presentation. We, as part of that program, it shows how we apply to Harvard Healthy Program, Building Program School for Health, dated November 2020. The Harvard guidelines recommend the following: use MERV 13 filters on recirculated air. The MERV stands for minimum efficiency report value. And we use MERV 13 in every occupied space. You should also, the guidelines also target at least 5 air changes per hour, and also called an ACH. Even at a minimum outside set points, all 514 classrooms total 5 and higher. We will be adding a list of each classroom rates at a later time. Please see, and if you would like to see the any of the presentations mentioned, those are on the agenda for the the facilities committee meeting, and then the rest of it is on tonight's agenda. The next facilities meeting will be, our facilities and purchasing meeting will be Thursday, September 15th at 8:30 a.m. in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schaffmeister. It's always a long, but very thorough, so that is helpful. Next on our agenda are announcements or additional agenda items. That we do not have any additional agenda items to add this evening. Next is audience recognition. At this time, we will hear public comment. If you would like to speak at tonight's meeting and have not signed up yet with Ms. LaPera, please do so now. For those of you joining us via the webinar, the chat feature will now be open, and you will see a 10-minute timer appear on your screen. You can submit your comments and/or questions via the chat feature. In both cases, please be sure to begin with your full name and where you reside within the district in order for your comment to be shared. As always, that just needs to be a neighborhood. It doesn't need to be a specific address. And Ms. LaPera, do we have any in-person comments for tonight's meeting?
Yes, we do. We'll start with Holly Manzoni, then Ruth Jenkin, and Adrian Seltzer.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Holly Manzoni from Wynwood, and I'd like to thank you for recognizing those students and the great work they did. It's really encouraging to hear this, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's why all of you put so many hours and a lot of your life, and I appreciate what you're doing. May not always agree with what you're doing, but I do appreciate, especially when you reach out for the children. I also appreciate the presentation on the comprehensive plan. I thought you did a great job. There was a lot in there that I liked. I liked overall the focus on academics, because I think that's really what you're here for, is to teach the kids. And I thought that was terrific. There were also a few other things that were nice in there. There were some comments about appreciating and wanting to improve communication with the public, and that's very much appreciated. And I also saw there was a nice comment about, I guess, the Department of Education, the green schools or the green ribbon schools or whatever had a recognition. That's something to be really proud of with all the school districts around. So congratulations on that. I thought that was all very good. I do see it felt a little funny reading that, though, with all the environmental interest and all that, that there was a lack of anything in that plan about athletics and the need for athletic fields and stuff like that. So it's just kind of funny. I come to a lot of these meetings and there's a lot of talk about athletic facilities and all, yet it seems that your focus is on academics, where I think it should be. So I was a little puzzled by the discrepancy when I come to the meetings and what's talked about there. As we all know, Lower Merion is well known for excellence in academics, and that's well deserved. But let's be honest, we're also known for an institutional arrogance. And we see that where if there's a study on something, say enrollment, if you don't like what it says, well, go get another one. Or if there's another issue, it seems that there's an awful lot of litigation that goes on in this district. And I think if you do stick to the plan and work better with the community and have a little more back and forth, that maybe some of these issues can be resolved. Listen to us. Maybe you can save a lot of time and money, because I can tell you right now that the public does not want you to tear down the magnificent Oakwell estate to build unnecessary playing fields. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Manzoni.
Good evening. My name is Ruth Jenkin, and I live in Wynwood. And I'm here to talk about school safety. I know after the last school shooting, we got a notification or a letter about how safe our schools are. I would like to disagree. I live near Lower Merion High School, and the flow in and out of that high school is constant. The changing of cars for the parking, the lunch that the students have, because I know that a lot of the garbage is on our streets. And they come in and out at will. All we need is one student, one sad, depressed, lonely, isolated student to go to their car and come back with a gun. They come in and out of the school at will. I could understand them leaving the school to do whatever they need to do, but the doors should be locked upon their leaving. They call their friends. I see them. I have photographs. I've taken pictures of it. They call their friends and they open that side door onto Owen and they walk in, or they go around to the front, or the Kobe gym is opened. It's open and it's available for anybody to come in. I think that those doors should be locked upon exit, and somebody needs to open them in order for the student to come back in. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins.
Ms. Seltzer?
Adrian Seltzer, Winwood. I just got notice that somebody was having a problem finding the chat online. So you might want to check that. Okay, I don't know what's happening. All right. Anyway. Good evening, Dr. Mumine, President Klein, and members of the school board. I have several questions for you and would appreciate a response. I realize that is not required by law, but is in keeping with good community relations. I have a question about the facilities and purchasing report. Why are certain items itemized in the report and other items which are for more money are not? For example, legal fees last month totaled $131,000, and they're never mentioned. Just for one law firm, it was $57,000, and you're bringing up stuff that costs $24,000 to itemize. I want to thank you for adding 3 more wellness counselors to the district. Did you know that mental health concerns and availability to care were top concerns of Lower Merion residents in Triad's Community Needs Assessment Report commissioned by the township? Based on that, do you think 3 more counselors for 8,600-ish students is enough? Are we taking advantage of the federal bipartisan Safer Community Act funds? Has the district applied for state funds that are available for mental health? I don't remember what that plan was called. Okay. Why can't Zoom participate in subcommittee meetings? This option was previously available. However, the board appears not to want public participation. The scheduled meeting time of 8:30 a.m. when people are getting kids ready for school or themselves for work supports this conclusion. So when will Zoom participants be able to participate fully? Subcommittee meetings are not recorded. Many other school districts record these types of meetings. Residents who cannot and do not attend these meetings don't know where school board members stand on the issues important to the health and well-being of our students. Issues that have yet to be implemented, like later start times, full-day kindergarten, environmental stewardship, and school safety. There is no reason why the district cannot edit out any personal information before the recording is posted. You do it for these business meetings, so why can't you do it for the subcommittee's meetings? And public, please pay attention to these issues and others that are important to you. School board elections are next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Seltzer.
Thank you so much. Before we move into the online comments, I'd like to thank the speakers who came before us this evening. Thank you so much. Mrs. Seltzer, as you know, of course, with your leadership with the NAACP as a prominent community partner, we've established some good communication between the two of us. Please reach out. We can talk about these issues that you've brought to the forefront this evening in regards to the counselors and facilities and purchasing. So just send an email and we'll be able to address these questions for you. Thank you.
Mr. Roos, can you please read any public comments that were submitted to the chat feature?
Yes, so far there have been 6. First is Jamie Mogul, Haverford. As an LMSD alumna, resident, president of the local League of Women Voters, and board member to PA Youth Vote, I, and these member organizations, wholeheartedly support the student-proposed youth voter resolution. We commend the board and administration for going beyond the bare minimum state standards to make a permanent, organized, and concerted year-round commitment to nonpartisan youth civic engagement and registration, for listening to and engaging the student voice, and for setting the precedent that the district will invest in preparing young people to be civically engaged citizens and informed voters. We were honored to play a supportive role and want to congratulate these students. This was civic engagement in action, and we should all be proud. Let's all take a moment and recognize young people are not just the future, but have shown us they are very much the present. Mark Fasano, Wynwood. Very gratified to see the district moving forward with the demographic report regarding full-day kindergarten, an important step toward providing equity and equality for our youngest learners. Thomas, he's not actually a resident of Lower Merion. At least not according to the address that he provided. Janice Lipsitz, Marion Station. I would like to amplify the urgent need to step into the research in support of later school start time. Thank you. Allison Burnett, Marion Station. Could you please describe whether LMSD COVID safety policies for 2022-23 are aligned with the new CDC guidelines? And the last comment is from Carly Goldberg, Wynwood. I pre-wrote my statement, but alas, I am unable to cut and paste into this chat. My comment is about the lack of access equity for school meetings and events that I and many other parents experience in the district. I'm a parent living with severe, complex chronic illness. I am disabled and spend 95% of my time homebound. Many parents and community members need access equity due to work schedules, transportation, childcare, and we are still in a pandemic and many cannot be in public gathering. I have more to say and will share my full comment in another forum. If we continue to have conversations around equity and universal design in LMSD, then we must, I assume, utilize equitable practices for everyone to have a seat at the table. That concludes the online comments by residents.
Thank you. I just want to do a quick follow-up and encourage the last speaker, I'm sorry I didn't catch the name, to send the full comments to community comments, and that way everyone on the board will receive that.
We can look at email.
Community comments at lmsd.org. And regarding the CDC, yes, the health and safety plan does align with the CDC, the current new CDC guidelines, and a communication will be sent out to students and families tomorrow, I believe, regarding that.
That's correct. That's correct. Thank you.
Great. So thank you, Mr. Roos. At this time, we're going to move forward with the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda via consent?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. So,
Yeah, there was an abstention on one of these, on just one item on the consent agenda. Go ahead, Anna.
I just have to abstain from one of the bills. My husband works for one of the providers.
That would be Lumen, L-U-M-E-N.
Yeah.
So the abstention is only for that vote. The rest of the consent agenda
Okay.
should be shown as a vote of all present.
perfect, thank you. So do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
A second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Just the one?
Just the one for the one vote.
Yes. Motion passes. Mr. Roos, can you please give a report on the Sunshine Act?
Yes.
The board met tonight in executive session to discuss litigation matter. That would be the woke budget litigation. I apologize, I don't have the docket number handy, but I'm happy to provide it. And also the district to discuss the two land use matters before, regarding the new playing fields pending before the zoning hearing board and the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Roos. Upcoming board meeting dates, which are held here in the District Administration Office Boardroom, are at 8 p.m. are on September 12th is the Education Committee and Supplementary Regular Board Meeting. As a reminder, that meeting is generally a follow-up to the Curriculum Committee meetings and has those the same presentations that are done at the Curriculum Committee meetings are normally presented at the Education Committee meeting which is the second Monday of the month. And then also on September 19th, the third Monday of the month, is the regular business board meeting. All committee meetings are held in this room and live streamed. They generally begin at 8:30 a.m. unless otherwise noticed. The next curriculum committee meeting is on Thursday, September 8th. Please note that this is a Thursday, not the usual Wednesday morning. That is because the administration all like to be in the schools on the first several days, and that lets sort of a nice start to the school year for the administration. Friday, September 9th is the next policy committee meeting, and follow up again on the resolution tonight on the voter registration. That resolution will sort of be the stepping stone for the policy committee to move that through to make it an official school board policy. Tonight's was just a resolution. We have sort of legal steps that we need to take to make it a full school board policy. The next facilities and purchasing meeting will be on Thursday, September 15th. And then on Wednesday, September 28th is the first communications committee meeting of the year, and that will be at 7 p.m. Also, as always, there's an upcoming ISC meeting on Tuesday, September 13th. It'll be via Zoom, Dr. Mareen's fall superintendent update. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.